In the last session, we discussed about the support project process. Okay, what are the points we have to consider? We discussed there will be AMC annual maintenance contract between consulting company and the client. And again, there will be SLA, service level agreement. What are the terms and conditions respective to support what consulting company is providing? And KT, knowledge transfer. If somebody is entering into that project, support project, the KT is required, knowledge is required for the consultants about the project, how it is implemented, what are the applications are being used, what are the processes are implemented, everything they have to understand. And we use the different tools to track the tickets or issues. And we discussed a few tools like Remedy or Clarifier. Different tools are available in the market. And what is the purpose of those tools? The users can log the tickets in those tools only. So that's how we can access those tickets and we can analyze and we can fix those issues. And when we are part of support project, we involve in the customizations also. If client requires some custom reports, we have to just support them by creating the functional specification documents. Could be implementation or support. We generally come across this reports customizations. And once client will start using the system, if they want to use any other features, other functionalities, those we have to implement. Even we are working as a support consultant as per their business requirement. If any new features they want to use as per their business, yes, we have to support to the client. Any additional setups we have to do during the support as per requirement, we have to do that. And every month end we have to close the books. That means we have to close the period. The respective application, we have to open the periods that we call as a period close activities. And here we discussed about when we talk about any tool or ticket tracking or to log the tickets, any tool client will use. So they will just log the tickets by following this basic information. Okay, what is the title of issue? Belongs to which application, belongs to which process. They describe about the issue, what they are facing. If any attachments they'll provide, they'll specify the priority or severity of that issue, the urgency, assigned to whom and what is the status of the ticket. So these are the points we discussed. And once we get the ticket, we analyze that issue, whether that is related to some setup related issue or the user is doing something wrong, that is the reason they are facing that issue, or else it's application related issue. Application related issue means maybe something wrong from the application. So we have to understand, okay, if you want to resolve any issues, we have to understand about that. If any more details we require, we request the business users or call them as end users. We get the data from the end users. Based on that, we can understand more details about the tickets or issue, and we'll try to resolve. If we can resolve with the inputs what we are getting, we'll just update to the user as the issue is resolved, or else we have to contact Oracle. The Oracle Global Support, the Oracle website. So you can just search for the same issue what you are facing. You are not able to create invoice or not able to create the payment. You are not able to just perform the validation, or you are not able to create the accounting, or you are not finding the supplier. Even supplier and sites are available and assigned to your business unit. Sometimes maybe you may not find the suppliers when you are trying to create the payment, or when you are creating the payment, you are getting some error message. So this sort of any kind of issues which you come across when you are working on the system as a business user, what are the issues you get, that will be reported to us when we are working as a support consultant. Those issues you can check in the Oracle Global Support, or simply you can say the Oracle's support website. There will be clues what could be the reasons, and all based on those clues, if you are able to resolve the issue, okay, or else we have to raise SR. service request to Oracle. So then somebody will keep in touch with us from Oracle side and they will help us to fix that issues. Sometimes they may ask us to attend the conference that we call as OWC, Oracle Web Conference, where they will take our system access, they'll look into the instance and to understand the details of that issue. And sometimes the issue may turn into bug also. Bug is nothing but coding related issue. For that, Oracle will suggest a patch. Patch need to be applied by Oracle DBS team only. And when you talk about SLA, service level agreement, these are the points we discussed. These are not fixed. This is our reality you see. It could be vary from client to client. Obviously, if P1 means priority 1, so immediately the issue need to be resolved within 1 hour or within 30 minutes. Priority 2, maybe 1 day or 10 hours or certain period. And P3, priority 3, and priority 4. These are the respective timings. Depending on the client, they'll have a service level agreement with the consulting support partners to fix those issues. This is what we discussed as a part of support project. And prior to that, we discussed about the implementation process and what are the other points we have to discuss, understand related to implementation project. How the projects can take place, what are the other points we have to discuss, we discussed. So before we proceed, any questions based on the previous discussions related to this real-time classes, please? Any questions from anyone? Any clarification required, please? Okay, no questions. Now, so we discussed about implementation project process and support process also. Support project, what are the points we have to understand? What about upgradation project? So just very simple to understand. Upgradation project. So when I talk about upgradation project, when Oracle is going to come up with a new releases, or you can call as new versions as per EBS, could be version or release. If Oracle is going to come up, I'm not taking only Fusion, it could be EBS or Fusion. Let's try to understand the standard process of upgradation so that which is applicable where, that easily you can understand. So when I talk about upgradation, if Oracle is going to come up with a new release or new versions, so we can involve in the upgradation project. So as a part of upgradation project, so if you want to upgrade your applications to latest release or latest version, we have to inform to Oracle. In case of cloud, in case of on-premise, our DBA team can do that. Initially, what it could be Oracle DBAs or our DBAs from our team. Doesn't matter what activities we have to do, let's discuss. So already discussed in the very initial classes, we can find the different instances. Those are test instance and production instance. We can have a development instance also, but in case of cloud, if you want to have a development instance, you can have, or else the test instance only you can use as a development instance. Now we no need to talk about development instance when you talk about upgradation project. So now you are using the production instance. Okay, the production instance, say you are using the production instance with release 12. Now the current release is release 13. Now you want to upgrade from release 12 to release 13. If you want to upgrade from release 12 to release 13, in case of cloud, you have to talk to Oracle. You have to inform to Oracle saying that you want to upgrade from 12 to 13. So then what Oracle will do is, so initially they'll apply the patches on this test instance. Okay, what they will do is they'll clone they'll clone this production instance to test instance. Cloning. Cloning. The cloning activity is nothing but, okay, so copy of production. Not only copy of production, it could be copy of your test to some other instance or development to another instance. Copying instance complete information from one environment to another environment. Here the example what we are taking related to copying of production. Copy of production. The DBS can do it. Who can do this activity? Okay, DBS. The to Oracle DBS can do it. Okay, from in case of cloud, always we have to talk about how it works in case of cloud. In case of EBS or on-premise, that's different thing. We'll have our own DBS, a team, they can do it. But in case of cloud applications, if you are accessing the servers from Oracle, so these activities done by Oracle DBS, not our team. Okay, Oracle DBS, Oracle Fusion DB. Say Oracle DBA, the DBA may be just database DBA or else EBS DBA. So Oracle Fusion DBS. So if you want to upgrade from the release 12 to release 13, we have to communicate the same to Oracle. Once you talk to Oracle, so they'll contact us, and initially what they do is they do the cloning. Whatever the setups and data you have in the production instance, that total information they'll copy to test instance. So now the production instance and test instance both will be available with release 12 only. After that, what they will do is they'll convert the test instance to release 13. Okay, after that, on the test instance, okay, they will apply the patches. Patch application on test instance. Even that is a test instance, the complete production instance is cloned, copied to test instance. So whatever the data is available, whatever the setups are available in the production instance, first they clone those. They'll copy from the production to test instance. Now test instance would be equal to production instance. Directly in any scenario, take any scenario, it could be bug or it could be some upgrade activity, any activity. If Oracle is going to apply the patch, first they'll apply the patch in the test instance only. You should not apply the patch of the production. If something goes wrong, the production instance will get disturbed. That is the reason we should not apply the patches directly. First, we have to apply the patches on the test instance, and we have to check what is the impact of the patch, how it is helping us, or else it is creating some issues, or it is fixing the issues based on the purpose why you are applying the patch. These all points we have to understand. After applying the patch, our team, okay, the functional consultants and technical consultants will start working on the test instance. What they will do. When you talk about technical consultants, okay, so what they'll do is when they're applying the new patch, what are the customizations they have done? It could be some report customization. If it is a pass, even they can do some page customizations. And what are the integrations they have done with other systems? They will look after all those customizations. Okay, the technical consultants look after all the customizations. What are the customizations are done in the release 12 version, release 12, all are going to be as these are because of this new patch applications, anything is going to be disturbed, they will verify. Okay, they will verify the patch applications will impact these customizations or it won't impact those customizations, they'll check. So that they have to take care of. Okay, the customizations are invited by release 13. Here what they'll do is they apply the patch application on the test instance to convert that environment as a release 13. To convert that release 12 into release 13, Oracle will apply the patches on the test instance. Since production is copied to test, so all the customizations are done by technical team. Those all will be copied to test instance, and they will verify all those customizations are working or not after applying the patch. Any programming related changes they have to do to support in the release 13. If any changes in the release 13 with respect to that process or that functionality or the report related information, that's all they'll verify. Certain customizations can be invited by this release 13, means the same customizations what are done in release 12, those can be supported in release 13 also. For certain customizations, they may have to do certain changes related to coding and all, maybe some fields names they might have changed, that they might have added some additional fields. There could be some dependency between the fields. These all they'll consider, and they'll make sure that the customizations what they did in release 12 environment, those are working in release 13 also after applying the patches. If something is not working, they'll do the required corrections. So that is a job of technical consultants as a part of this upgrade activity. As a functional consultant, what we have to do? As a functional consultant, we have to run the report. We have to do the testing, run reports that will discuss. Generally, that will do as a part of production, like when they apply the patch. So as a functional consultant, we have to do the testing. So after applying this release 13 patch on this test instance, all the functionalities working properly or not, we have to we have to perform the thorough testing, the very detailed testing we have to do. So we have to go to, for example, we have to go to payables application. We have in the test instance, after applying the patches, we'll create invoice and we'll validate the account it is getting transferred to GL or not, we'll check. And we'll create different type of invoices, debit memo, credit memo, prepayment. And we'll see how the payments we are able to create or not. And different functionalities, may not be everything. The major functionalities what mostly client is using, all we have to test, and we'll run the reports also. What are the reports Oracle is providing, or what are the reports are developed by technical consultants, those all need to be tested, and we have to make sure that everything is working. In the most of the cases, when Oracle will apply the patches, will come across with some issues because of the patches what they are applying, why they are applying the patches to upgrade from release 12 to release 13. Sometimes the patches will disturb the standard functionality also. When we test, we'll come to know. When we test, we'll come to know. So what functionalities are not working after applying the patches, this all will list out and will raise SR to Oracle. Will raise SR to Oracle saying that after applying the patch in the test instance, we are not able to validate the invoice, or else so-and-so invoice type is missing in the payables, or else so-and-so screen is missing, or so-and-so tabs are not getting enabled, and we are not able to save the invoice, or we are not able to create the accounting, or else the bank account information is not displaying when we are trying to make the payment, or payment process profile information is not showing, or else we are not able to find the suppliers in the invoice creation screen. This is how we come across with the different issues. When we do the testing after applying the patches, this is how you may come across with the different issues. All the issues we have to list out, and we have to raise SR, service request, to Oracle saying that this is the patch impact. After applying the patch, this is the impact we are finding. These are the issues we are facing. So then Oracle will start helping us to fix those issues. Oracle may apply some other patches, and they may do some other activities, like maybe some cases they do the instance bounce. They'll bounce the instance. They'll just bounce the instance. Things will get shuffled, and again we can check. So they will suggest what needs to be done. whether other patch need to be applied to fix those new issues which you are facing, or else they'll just bounce the instance so that things will support, and or else they will suggest something to perform. Based on that, it may work. So that's how we have to keep in touch with Oracle, and we have to fix all the issues and bugs. Okay. So as a functional consultant, we have to do the testing. Then we will find some issues and bugs also. And with the help of Oracle support, we have to resolve those. That means when you find issues and bugs, when we do the testing in the test environment, which is a cloned and patch application, patch-based instance. So we have to, what are the issues and bugs we find, those we have to report to Oracle through SR. Okay. We have to raise SR to Oracle. Okay, we have to raise SR to Oracle. We'll keep in touch with Oracle, and they'll just help us to fix all those issues. Once you find the test instance is very much stabilized without any issues and bugs, and when we are able to perform the transactions without any challenges in the test instance, now we can take the decision to apply the patch on the production instance also. After applying the patch on the test instance, we are testing. And the technical consultants also will test all those technical components, all the developments, what they've done. Those could be integrations with other applications, third-party applications. Those could be report or page development, whatever they did, everything they test. And if something is not working, they cannot contact Oracle, because customizations are not done by Oracle. Oracle is not aware of the customizations what we are doing. Any customization related issues, those all need to be fixed by technical team only. Technical consultants has to fix. They identify all the issues which they are facing, they'll fix, and they'll make sure that the customizations what they did in release 12 environment, those are working in release 13 also after applying the patches. And functional side, we have to test if any issues, simple issues, we can fix it. And if the patches are disturbing the existing functionality, we'll go and correct it. Or if those are creating some bugs, programming related issues, definitely we have to contact Oracle by raising SR. And finally, we'll fix all those issues. And we'll make a note of all the issues what we encountered after applying these patches in the test instance. So we'll fix, if everything is working fine in the test instance, that is a time where the patch need to be applied on the production instance. Okay. So we'll raise the SR to Oracle. Finally, we'll fix all issues. Okay, those could be bugs also. All issues and bugs. When we are able to run the test instance very smooth, then we can apply the patch on the production instance. Oracle Fusion DBS will apply the patch on the production instance. So before here, what we have to do before we go and apply the patch? So we'll run the reports. Okay, we run reports in production instance just as a proof. Okay. So as a proof, we run the report. For example, we may run the reports as on say 10th September. Say on 10th September, okay, the Oracle is going to apply the patches on the production instance. By taking the date 10th September, we'll run the reports like invoice related reports, whatever the reports client is using. The invoice register, payment register, will run the reports as on the date, what information the report is fetching. We'll take that report and we'll maintain that output. After applying the patches, also the report should display the same data as on 10th September. Okay, that means before applying the patch and after applying the patch, if you run the report should display the same data. That means nothing is disturbed. That proof you have to show to the client. Ideally, we run the reports in each and every application. What are the reports are key reports, you can run those. So the invoice related report, payment related report, and the payables and receivables, transaction related report and receipt related report, and in the fixed assets, asset related report. This is how the relevant reports we have to run with on so and so date. On so and so date, by selecting so and so date, we have to run, and the output will maintain and will show to the client also. And after patch application, okay, first we'll run the reports and we'll make a note of that what result we are getting that report when you run by selecting so and so date. After that, running that reports in the production instance, the the DBA team will apply the patch. Okay, the patch application on production instance. Please go on mute. Production instance. Already discussed this. You can call as a prod instance also. Okay, production or prod, that is short name. So the patch application should be done on the production instance. Which patch? Release 13 patch they'll apply. So again, after applying the patch, now we cannot go on to do the testing. Okay, if it is a test instance, we can go and do the testing. Once you apply the patch, okay, the environment will be converted to release 13, but you cannot go and do the testing. Since this is a real instance, this can be used by client only. But what we can do is, after applying this patch, we can run the same reports. Whatever the reports we submitted before applying the patch, the same reports you can run, and you can make sure that the system is fetching the same balances. That means nothing is disturbed. That proof you can show to the client. Along with that, what we have to do is we have to watch. We have to watch as a functional consultant when users are creating any transactions, are they facing any issues because of this patch? Already we noticed many issues in the test instance. So when the patch is applied on the production instance, the same issues can be repeated in the production. Sometimes the issues may not be repeated in the production instance. Sometimes what Oracle will do is, along with this release 13 patch, whatever the issues we faced after applying this patch in the test instance, those issues fixing also they may apply the patches, or else the complete release 13 pack of the patch only they apply. So after application of the patch, users will start working on the instance. They'll start creating invoices and payments, supplier creation, or other activities they'll do. And definitely they come across with some issues and bugs. Because the patch, when we apply the patch, definitely we come across with some issues. And we should be available to fix those issues immediately. So that the users, the end users will report those issues to us. We have to look into that, if that can be corrected by doing certain setups or changing some values in the different setups, those we can fix. Or else if the issue is because of some programming or coding got disturbed because of this patch, we have to contact Oracle by raising SR, and with the Oracle support we have to fix those issues, maybe by applying some other patches to fix that new issues, or else by taking some suggestion from Oracle, we can fix those issues. The same way, the technical team also, the technical consultants also should watch how those technical components are working in the production instance after patch application. After patch application, so they cannot test it. After patch application, what are the custom reports they develop? Those reports, when users are running, those are working or those are not fetching the data, they have to verify. The same way, the integrations, whatever done with the third-party applications or any other applications, because of those integrations, data flow is happening between those applications or not, that they have to see. They cannot do anything when users are working, when users are trying to import the data from third-party applications to Fusion applications, or if they are trying to send the data from Fusion applications to third-party applications, those processes are working or not after these patch applications, they have to see. So after applying the patch and the production, technical consultants or functional consultants cannot do any testing. they have to wait and see how that environment is going to respond for the business users. If any issues, those need to be fixed in the production instance, and we have to make sure that everything is running smooth in the production instance. Then client will anyway, they'll continue with the production with a release 13. These are the points we have to understand when we talk about production. Okay, here after patch applications, the business users, the business users will start using production instance. Okay, production instance. And any issues, we have to fix it. Okay, no testing can be performed in the production because that is a real instance, real data. Then if any just issues or bugs, okay, you may find the same will be repeated in the production also. When business users will start using the production, you may find some issues and bugs, they'll report. Okay, they will find issues and bugs. They'll report to us whatever they're reporting, that could be just issue where you can easily fix it by changing some values or doing some activity. Or else that could be bug. And finally, we have to raise SR to Oracle and they'll fix all the issues and bugs. So then the release 13 will be, environment will be stabilized and client will continue the same. So these are the points we have to understand when we talk about upgradation project. Okay, upgradation project. If it is on-premise, if some client is using on-premise Fusion applications, the DBAs patch application all should be done by their own DBA. The part of implementation team or support project, for every client, there will be separate DBAs and they can do these activities. There is no other difference in the process. Okay. So these are the points we have to understand. Any questions, please? And here also, here we'll run the reports in the production instance before applying the patches and we'll save the result. And after applying the patches, also, so we'll run the reports again. Okay, we have to give the confirmation to the client, nothing is disturbed. Proof we have to show. Say you submitted invoice register report in the payables before applying the patch. It is showing outstanding balances are 10 lakhs. After applying the patches, also you'll run the same report with the same date and it should display the same result if you are running with the same date. So that is the reason we have to run that. Before, okay, so before like patch application, the reports what we are running, those reports we can call as pre-upgrade reports. Means before upgradation, before patch application, we are running the reports. Those we call as pre-upgradation reports. Okay, pre-upgradation reports. And after upgradation, after applying the patch, the same reports you will run. Those we call as post-upgradation reports. Based on activity, we call it. The same reports will run. So pre-upgrade reports and post-upgrade reports, this is how you can call. Before patch application, what are the reports you are running to save the result, to compare after patch application, the same we are going to find out in the same report. So those we call as pre-upgrade and post-upgrade reports. Okay. So primarily the invoice, in which report to invoices data you can see, in which reports we can see the payments, the primary activity related reports will run. So this is what we have to understand. Upgrade project. Okay, upgrade project. If it is on-premise, if client has their own system, okay, they are running using these Fusion applications. In case of Fusion, like their own server and all, this upgrade activity may take maybe like 2 to 3 months time. Okay, they may do it as a 2 to 3 months time also upgrade project. If it is a cloud on-prem, if it is a cloud environment where servers are managed by Oracle, okay, servers are managed by Oracle. So in that case, if it is SaaS environment, since you are not disturbing the product, this entire upgrade you may do in the few days only. Maybe Oracle will apply the patch today on the test instance, and you will test testing. You may complete in 2 days or 3 days or 4 days. Depends what level of testing you want to do. Very detailed level of testing you want to do. You want to do high level of testing that your project team can decide. Okay, other side Oracle also will suggest. You may do the testing in 2-3 days. After that, you may ask the Oracle to apply the patch. So this entire activity can be completed within 3-4 days or 1 week time. If it is a PaaS environment, you are using the cloud instance from Oracle, but you are using the PaaS. If you are using the PaaS means we have many customizations. So that is reason it may take like 10 days time or 2 weeks time also, depending on how many customizations we have, everything we have to test and we have to verify in the test instance after applying release 13 patch. After applying the patch on 13 also, you have to watch. Client will start using immediately once you apply the patch on the production, but you have to just verify everything is working fine or not. When users are working on the system, those you have to fix. The total time it may take week to 10 days time or 2 weeks time also, depending on the how many customizations you have. So that would be the duration of this upgradation project activities. So any other questions here, please?
Hi, Lakshman. Just wanted to confirm, is this release are mandatory to upgrade for any company?
Sorry?
Is this release are mandatory to upgrade every time?
Your voice is low. I'm sorry. If possible, can you be loud?
I'm saying, is it mandatory to upgrade the releases for the company?
Not mandatory. Not mandatory. Say in the release that 12 you are using, everything is going smooth. Okay, everything is going smooth. You don't need to upgrade. But there will be certain intervals. Say now Oracle came up with release 13. It's been 6 months or 1 month or 2 years. You are not upgrading from even Oracle release 13. You are standing on 12 only. For some time, after some time, Oracle will recommend you to just to upgrade to 13. Whenever they release, they don't recommend you to go with the 13. That's your own interest. Okay. So it is not mandatory, but if you are not upgrading for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, definitely after a few years, Oracle may force you to upgrade to 13 by recommending. If you are using 12, if you face some issues, so those issues, some solutions we have in the release 13 only, in the 12 we don't have. That's how they recommend. Still, if you want to continue with the 12, you can continue. But after a few years, definitely Oracle will just suggest you to go with the 13, or else they may force you to upgrade to 13 to take some advantages, and to when you're running the system, you will get very less issues or less bugs. With that note, they may suggest you, but not mandatory. When Oracle is coming up with the latest releases, it is not mandatory. You can continue with the same release and with what release you implemented the applications.
Okay.
But it is a very easy process. That is the reason every client always would be ready to upgrade to latest.
Okay.
If it is on-premise, it is a big activity. It takes months time.
So for upgradation, there would be some charges as well for upgrading the software, the release.
So no, in case of cloud, they don't charge anything. In case of cloud SaaS and all, it's simply patch application and all. It would be part of the subscription only. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Lakshman,
Yeah.
till the means once this process is going on in test instance, that time production instance also working, right? For
Yeah, they'll be working on the production. They don't stop the production.
yeah, right. Okay.
All the time production will be active. It will be up and running. Business users will start using. See here, say what they will do is, so we apply the patch and the test instance will test. Other side production will be running. Users will record the transaction. It goes like that. You identified issues and you fixed in the test instance. Finally, you took the decision to apply the patch on the production instance. So the patch application and all they may do in non-working hours. Okay, because to apply the patch, sometimes Oracle may down the instance. Okay, that's how the patch application also will be scheduled. When business users are not working, they'll apply the patch, and then instance after applying the patch, they'll up the instance. Then whenever that business hours are on, they'll start using the instance. If any issues, we will support to fix those issues in the production. That's all. All the time production will be up and running. Business users will always, they'll be using it to enter the transactions or to run the reports or to perform any other activities. Any other questions here, please?
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Multi legal entity, multi business unit enable cheyacha.
See, you already implemented that. Maybe one business unit or multiple business units, doesn't matter. That is a part of enterprise structure, right? So already you implemented, and that is there in your production. The production only you are cloning to test instance. Okay. Here separately you are not going to do any additional setups. How you did the implementation related setups and data what you have, that complete information you are going to upgrade to latest. Here we are not going to create something. What exactly you are trying to understand apart from this? See, here you are not going to create anything. Like enabling or disabling or creating something. Whatever the implementation already you done, whatever the setups you have and whatever the data you have in the release 12 environment. Here release 12 means Fusion release 12. I am not talking about EBS R12. Okay. Fusion only I am talking about. I am not talking about EBS.
Okay.
Okay. So that is a point we have to understand. Any other questions, please?
అవునవును.
Please go on mute. Please go on mute. You have questions, unmute and you can raise your question. Any questions from anyone, please? Okay. No questions. If no questions, now let's talk about rollout. So we're done with this different type of projects. Now let's talk about rollout.
Lakshman,
Please.
just if possible, just include the legacy to means production instance. There is a integration, right? So can you please look means get update on these things, because we don't have this kind of exposure. So if possible, you can please at least brief about that.
Yeah, I'll talk about it. I'll talk about after this rollout project.
Thank you.
Sir,
Yeah.
one more question regarding
Please.
the upgradation.
No.
If we are upgrading from R12 to R13, so what is the key point that we need to keep in mind, sir? Sorry, this question was asked in the interview. I was unable to ask.
Okay.
So that is the reason I'm asking. Yeah.
Fine. This is not EBS R12, Fusion R12. Okay, this is the point. Your question is R12 means EBS R12 or Fusion R12?
EBS R12, sir.
Okay. So simple answer, that is not possible. You cannot upgrade from EBS R12 to Fusion. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Within the EBS, you can upgrade from one release to another release. Within the Fusion, one release to another release, you can upgrade. But in between EBS and Fusion, say your client is using EBS 11i. 11i almost client started using. It could be 11i or R12. EBS R12 to Fusion release 13. When we are going to upgrade from EBS R12 to Fusion release 13, what are the points we have to keep in our mind? First of all, the upgrade is not possible. If any client wants to use Fusion release 13, if they are using already EBS R12, you have to do it as a fresh implementation only. Now EBS R12 you have to treat as a third-party application. By treating EBS R12 as third-party application, you have to see how the solution is done in the EBS R12. The same you can replicate in the Fusion, okay, but you cannot upgrade. Your EBS R12 environment cannot be converted into Fusion environment. Not possible.
In that case, we need to completely re-implement, right? So,
Yes, re-implementation. So here, whatever we are doing the fresh implementation, okay, the same process we have to follow. But already the implementation is done. The Oracle applications only, our job will become easy. Okay, you no need to finalize the chart of accounts. What are the chart of accounts we have in EBS? The same chart of accounts you can create in the Fusion, and you can talk to the client. Can we are you okay to use the same chart of accounts? Do you need any changes in the chart of accounts? Any segments you want to increase or decrease? You can talk to them. Now they have a flexibility because once again the same solution we are going to implement in the Fusion. And we will move the data from EBS to Fusion by using FPDA templates. Simply you have to treat as EBS R12 as a third party. So that's how we have to do the implementation of the Fusion application. Everything you have to create again in the Fusion. Everything you have to create again in the Fusion. You have to do all the setups for GL, APR, CMFA, all the application. You have to create the enterprise structure, and you have to move the data in payables, whatever the invoices data you have, supplies data you have. By using FPDA templates, you have to load into Fusion applications by collecting the data from EBS. This job we have to complete if any client wants to move from EBS R12 to Fusion applications. Could be 12 or 13. Clear?
yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any other questions here, please? If no questions, let's talk about rollout project. What is the meaning of rollout? Say, for example, you did the implementation. So you did the implementation for one of the US client. And they have 10 branches, you created 10 business units, 10 BUs, and you implemented. Now they started two more branches. Now you have to do the implementation for two more branches. So, you know, like how to do the setups for payables, receivables, purchasing, order management application. The same setups will do for other business units. If any data is available for the branch related, that data you have to load into the system against those business units. That means whatever the implementation we did, say today we completed implementation, client started using the application. So as per the solution, what we designed, we created enterprise structure, say they have total 10 business units. And after a few months, they started two more branches. Okay, say they started two more branches and they are doing the business. And they took the decision, they want to use these Fusion applications for those two more branches also. Now for those two more branches, we may create two more business units. Or else if the two more branches, what they are running, what they started, if they have a separate registration for those two more branches, you will create respective legal entity in the system, and those two you may create as a two business units, and you have to complete the payables, receivables, purchasing under different application setups. Doing the setups for additional business units and creating new legal entities and all this we call as rollout project. That is one of the example. Or else take another example. Say your client is doing the business in US and India. And as a first phase, you completed implementation for US. What they thought is, first, let's see how these Fusion applications are going to help for our business. And they planned for implementation for US. And for US, implementation is completed successfully. And they are using the Fusion applications, and they identified that is really working fine for them. And they taken the decision they want to implement Fusion applications for India also. Now the same client, same business, country is different. Now how we did the implementation, the same will replicate for India also. Okay, replicate for India also. That means we are rolling out the same solution for India also. So just names would be different. What are the features? What are the process which they follow? That is same. Maybe you can country to country, the payroll process, taxation can be different. That's a different story. Apart from that, the business process wise, that would remain same. So that we call as a rollout. As a part of rollout, mostly what we do is we use the setup documents. Okay, what are the setup documents? In today's session, we'll see how the setup documents looks like. So for a US implementation, what are the setups documents we prepare for payables, receivables, and other application? By referring those applications only, you can do the setups for additional business units or for additional countries also. So when you do the implementation in India, US, whatever the chart of accounts you are using, you can use the same, and you can create the separate primer ledger, and you can do the setups, how many branches they have in India, and what are the solutions are implemented, what are the features we implemented for the US business operations. The same setups will do. If some additional setups are required, we'll do certain setups. If they don't require, we'll ignore it. That's how the same solution will replicate for other countries or for additional business units that we call as rollout project. Okay, rollout project means already you did the implementation for one country, you did, maybe you want to do for other countries. The same solution we will use for other countries also, because client is same, country may be different. If country is different, accordingly we do the setups, and we'll use the naming conventions for primer ledgers, business units, etc. Client is same, business is same, solution also would be same. If any changes are required in the solution, we can do accordingly, but core solution is same. So that we call as a rollout. We will roll out the same solution for other business units in the same country, or else we'll roll out the complete solution for other countries. What are the solution we implemented for specific country? So this is what we call as rollout project. Here, what additionally we have to do is, so when you do the rollout, ideally we use setup documents. So take example, you did the implementation for US. Okay, you did the implementation for US. Now for the same client, you want to do the implementation for India. Now that you can call as rollout project. To do the implementation, when you do the implementation for US client, US business operations, we prepare the setups. What are the setups we did when we do the implementation for US? We prepare the setup documents. Okay, setup documents, or you can call as application setup documents. Okay, application setup documents. These documents we take as a reference. With the reference of those documents, we do all the setups for India. Okay, we do the setups for India, and we'll definitely will talk to India business also. Okay, India team, like who are just working for that India business, and the managers, the accountants who are working will interact with them, and how we implemented for US, as these we have to implement, or as per their process in India, is there any changes? Those all points we'll consider, but actual blueprint would be this setup document only. Okay, what are the setups we did in US? The same will replicate, will repeat for India also. If any changes required, accordingly we'll do it. So what are the balance and segment values they use in India? Totally different from US. Okay, what are the naming conventions we use for business units? Those are different from US. So what are the different inventory organizations or primer ledger, what we create, that could be different. And accounts, what they use, whatever they are using, the accounts they can use for India or for India business operations. If they are doing some additional activities, those accounts also you can add in the same chart of accounts. And definitely we'll have some meetings with India business operations, business users, and we will talk to them. This is how we designed the solution and this is how we implemented for US. Do you need same or you need some changes? This is how we'll discuss. And after discussing with the India team, and if any additional functionalities, additional features need to be implemented, those also will make a note, and those also will set up and will implement. And we have to provide the training. Okay, and here also we have to conduct some sort of like CRPs and UATs as a part of implementation we discussed. So we'll conduct the CRPs. We have to present to the like we have to take through the process how this application can be used for their India operations, and we'll conduct the UATs, user acceptance tests. We'll ask them to have a like usage of the system, how that the transactions can be recorded. We'll take the approvals from them, and we will just work on that data conversions. Means we'll load the data. Okay, here let's go to here. Fine. Here just mostly like as is process almost would be same. If any changes need to be done, we'll do the changes in the to be process in case of rollout, and we'll do the system configuration. And accordingly the documents we use, whatever the documents we prepared for US, the same documents we use because client is safe. And if any changes required that we'll do the testing and we'll conduct the CRPs here. So you no need to conduct these many CRPs already, just when we discuss with the client. So we'll come to know the same process they are following, certain changes are there, accordingly we'll modify and we'll present to the client how that system can be used. And we'll ask the business users to have a trial on the system by entering the transactions, and we'll keep production ready. We'll start doing the setups in the production instance. The India business related master data and transactional data will load into the system, means suppliers, customers, open receivables, open transactions, open invoices, and the payables. This all will run. We'll have to provide the training for the business users, and the training documents also we can provide. So already you may have a training documents which are prepared for US. Within that naming conventions and all will change, and you can refer. You can tell them you can refer these. And for India business operations also, client will start using the system. Already the instance is used by US business operations. And in the same instance, these setups also will do the same instance. From India also, users will start using and will provide the post-implementation support. When India users are working on the system, if they have any doubts or any clarification required, if they are facing some issues, we will help them. So this is a process need to be followed. It's all about will replicate whatever the solution we design, that will replicate. But as per India, how many they required as it is, that we will just by referring this setup document, you can do the setups, and we will just educate the users who are going to work from India. This is what we call as rollout project. Okay, rollout project. If it is simply additional business units, it's very simple. If you are going to do this solution rollout for other countries, again some sort of implementation only you have to do. You can say that it's just 50% of implementation, because for other country, for the same client already is implemented, many things will come to know already. So your job will become easy. You can say rollout means it's 50% of implementation. So when it comes to other country implementation, if rollout is like client has 2 additional branches, creating 2 more business units, complete solution is as is. Just you have to create 2 business units and you have to do the setups, and which users are going to work for those 2 business units, 2 branches, you have to provide the training to them, they can start using. Okay, that's all. And you load the data related to those business units data also, whatever the data they have, suppliers, customers, all the data which is belongs to those business units, you will load it to the system, they'll start using. It's a simple task. Adding additional business units and all, it's a very simple task. Performing this rollout for other countries, it's kind of 50% of implementation activities only will do. So this is what we have to understand about rollout project. Any questions here, please? Any questions, please? Right, no questions.
Sir, for additional view and then creating, does Oracle charge something extra to the client?
Yes, definitely. So once implementation is done, okay, so the implementation based on the scope, they will charge. After implementation is done, what we'll do, we'll provide the support only. We'll be there as a support team. If client wants to implement additional business units, this consulting company will charge definitely extra. In some scenarios, the client, the consulting company may do this service also as a part of this like support only. But most of the scenarios, there will be separate charge for that, because that support agreement is different from this rollout activity. Okay, again, the separate like agreement they'll sign off. Okay, they'll sign in separate agreement saying that to implement for these 2 business units and 3 business units will take 1 month time, 2 months time, and minimum these 2 resource or 3 resource should work. These are the billing. Okay, this is a billing we charge for these consultants, or else if not consultant wise, there'll be total contract value. Okay, so we'll do this implementation for these 3 branches also for so application. We'll charge this much. So that's how there'll be like agreement or contract between the client and the consulting company. So 99% there will be separate charge. Sometimes like say they are implemented, they are providing support, client is not happy with the support team, and in between they came up with a requirement of like creating one, they started one more branch, they want to implement for that branch also. Already the client the implementation support team had a bad impression, and in such kind of scenario, if they are going to start one more branch, one more business unit need to be created and setups are required, definitely this team will respond very positively. No issues, we can do that implementation also for you, no charges. It depends. Okay, so generally the consulting companies charge the client for this kind of additional business units implementation. If it is the rollout for a different country, definitely that they'll treat as a separate project. Okay, separate project they'll treat. So that's how it works. Any questions, please? So done. Now let's talk about integration. Somebody is asking to understand integration. Okay. So see, basically this should be done by technical team, and there is no work for us. Just we have to understand from which system which data need to be interfaced. Say for example, so you are using Oracle Fusion GL application you have, and from Oracle Fusion, the Oracle Fusion GL, so ideally we have application called as HCM application, Oracle Fusion HCM applications. But what your client is doing is, your client is using HCM applications from other vendor. They are using one application called as XYZ payroll application. If client is using Oracle Fusion payroll application, the salaries what they are paying, okay, salaries what they pay, that information will be interfaced to GL application, the form of journals. Okay, the Oracle Fusion payroll application, what are the salaries are processed to employees, that information can be transferred to Oracle Fusion General Ledger in the form of journal. And that Oracle Fusion payroll application will have an integration with Oracle Fusion GL, since that is Oracle product. But say your client is not going to use Oracle Fusion payroll application. Your client is not going to use. Your client is using third-party application. The third-party application is XYZ payroll application. Now, between these two applications, this is third-party application, this is Oracle application. Between these two applications, the technical team has to build the integration. They have to create the integration between these two. So as a finance consultant, what we have to do? Oracle Fusion GL is finance application. If you are going to if you have to bring the data from XYZ payroll application to Oracle Fusion General Ledger application, here data will come in the form of journal. If data is coming into this here, what are the fields of data we have to get from here? That we have to identify and we have to interact with the technical consultant. Okay, what we have to list out here to create the invoice, to create the journal and the payables. So we need journal batch. The journal batch field data we have to get from XYZ payroll application, and say journal name and journal source, journal category, and definitely date and period. Okay, and currency and the debit code combination, credit code combination, and for a debit and credit amount. Okay, so this is how, like, when you are creating the journal and the GL application, what are the data you have to provide, what fields you can find the journal creation page, all the data we have to bring from XYZ application. Certain data system can take within the GL, but what are the fields of data we have to get from XYZ payroll application, so that we have to discuss with this XYZ payroll application team, and technical consultant also will involve in that. From our side, we will talk to the technical consultant saying that from XYZ payroll application, these fields of data we have to populate, we have to get into Oracle Fusion GL so that journal can be created against the salaries what they are paying. So then what we will do is we will look into this XYZ payroll application. So here, whenever they perform the salaries, payments and all, okay, to support, to create journal batch, it is creating anything here, we will verify. Nothing is creating. Okay, equivalent to this, nothing is available here. In that case, we'll talk to the technical team. So what information they have to take as a journal batch? Then we can say, so by including the month, okay, by including the month, and create the journal batch name as a month name and salaries. Salaries. This is how just this data you display in the GL as a journal batch. Since journals are nothing is available in the XYZ payroll application to bring to copy from payroll XYZ payroll to GL journal page. And the same name you may take as a journal name also in our GL application. Source name is the XYZ payroll. Application name, it will come here. Okay, the source XYZ payroll application, it should be displayed as a source. And category is salaries. What they are doing in the XYZ payroll, salaries should come here. So here, when they are paying the salaries, the date information should come to date field, which is available in the journal page. In which period they are processing the salaries, that information should come to this period page. And in which currency they are paying the salaries, that information should come to currency field in the GL. And what are the accounts they are using as a debit and credit amounts, that information should come here. That means we do the field mapping. Okay, what data we have to get into GL application to create the journal, we know what fields data we have to provide. So if you are going to get the data from other application, so what fields data you have to bring into this GL application, we have to identify this field mapping. This job will be done by technical team. How they will extract the data from XYZ payroll application and how they'll bring into interface. From the interface, how they'll bring into the GL application, the field mapping and the programming logic, everything can be built by technical team. And they'll create the interface between XYZ payroll applications to Oracle Fusion General Ledger, and they'll do the field mapping. What data should come to journal batch field from payroll XYZ payroll application? What data should come to journal name field from XYZ payroll application? In the source field, what data should come? For category, date, is all like to fill all these fields, what data should come from XYZ payroll application, that we have to finalize, and we'll sit with the XYZ payroll application team as well as technical consultant also just will sit for these discussions, but will play the major role of what data need to be just mapped with the Oracle Fusion GL to create the journals against the XYZ payroll salaries payments. And then technical team, technical consultant do the programming accordingly. Once the programming is done, we will do the testing. Okay, the XYZ payroll application will ask them to just create the salaries payments. Once they create the salaries payments, that information is coming to GL. Our Oracle Fusion GL or not, will test. Okay, they'll create and we'll ask them to transfer the data to GL, and from GL you can import it, you can take into GL. Properly the data is coming or not. If data is stuck in interface, okay, we have to get to know what reason is stucking. We'll ask the technical consultant to create some exception report. If any data will stuck in the interface between the XYZ payroll application and Oracle Fusion GL. For Oracle Fusion GL application, we have interface, GL interface. Because of that, only data is coming from payables to GL, receivables to GL, assets to GL. So from XYZ payroll application, first data will come to GL interface. From there, we have to import into GL application. If any data will stuck in the interface, so the system has to generate the report. What are the reasons? How many records are stuck in the interface? That report system should generate. That will ask the technical team. In case of any exceptions or issues, okay, the execution report they will develop, and we will check that whether if any issues it is generating the report or not, so that we can go and fix it. So this all will verify. Finally, we'll make sure that if any payments are processed in XYZ payroll application, so we are able to import that information into GL application as a journal information successfully, that we have to check. So this is what we have to understand in case of any integrations. Not only this, integrate any application with any another third-party application. This is what we have to do. To which Fusion applications, what data records we are going to bring. So to create those records from other third-party application, what data we have to bring from other applications, the field mapping we have to do. Okay. And finally, technical people will develop the programming logic and this integration. So once the technical people develop this interface and mapping, etc., the testing takes place. They'll create transaction third-party applications. They'll transfer that information. It is coming to GL or it is failing that record. If it is failing, so what reasons technical people involved, and they'll fix it. So finally, we have to create a route to bring the data from XYZ payroll to Oracle Fusion GL. What information? Journal information. Whatever the transaction they are creating there, against that journals need to be created, and that information should come to GL. So this is what we have to understand related to integrations. The same is applicable for any third-party applications with Fusion applications. Any questions, please?
So while we can do the implementation, that time also there is the integration, right? Legacy to
Yes, exactly.
so same
Mostly,
action.
one second. Mostly integrations we do at the time of implementation. After implementation, just client will use it. Okay. So they implemented, they are using. They want to use some third-party tool to get that data. Say, for example, they want to They don't want to create the exchange rates in the Fusion application through spreadsheet. They are taking service from some third-party vendor. Now the third-party application, we have to integrate with the Fusion application. What purpose? To import the rates. Import the rates. If you want to import the exchange rates, what data we have to bring? We have to prepare it. We have to prepare from currency to currency, rate type we have to bring, and the date range from and to date, and what is the rate and inverse rate. That's all. This is what we have to inform to the technical team. So these fields, they will map with the third-party tool which you are using to get the rates, and they create the integration. That's how they'll create the route to bring the data from third-party application to Fusion application, the rates information or this journals information or invoices information. These integrations, 99% will do in the implementation time. After implementation, some client wants to use some other applications, then the same we have to repeat. 99% integrations as a part of implementation only will do. Any other questions, please?
In integration, what kind of questions, if interviewer asks, means there is any specific questions? Do you know that?
See, mostly they can ask the questions like, have you involved in any integrations? Okay. Have you involved in any integrations? So if you want to clear your interview, you have to say yes only.
Yeah, even I'm said that no, that's why might be I was rejected. But if I said yes, then what next question? Because I was worried about that. I'm not much exposure, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm coming to that point. Okay. If you say yes, okay, you can just you can tell them, like, you can take this example. Okay, in one of our implementation, we integrated the third-party payroll application with the GL application to bring the journals information from that payroll applications to GL. My job was field mapping, where I just mapped what data need to be just imported from payroll application to GL. Since it's a journal information, I just clearly mentioned what are the fields need to be imported from the third-party applications to Fusion GL as a journal information. I given the specifications like the journal batch, journal name, source, category, date, period. And this is what you have to you can explain. And what third-party application used, they may ask you the question. You can say any name that is acceptable. There are many applications in the market, or else you can go to Google and you can search payroll applications. Okay, use any one of the name in your interview discussions. Okay, so you can use any name. Here I'm just taking as a XYZ. I can say if I'm facing the interview, I can say like that. 360 payrolls is the third-party application name. Okay, that is third-party application name you can say. Or else you can search in the Google, you can find many third-party payroll application solutions. In your discussion, you can use that. The same way, if you can tell them, yes, I worked on integrations. So I worked for integrations between third-party exchange rates tool and Fusion applications. I involved in the process of establishing the interface between the third-party daily rates tool and Fusion applications. My job is just helping the technical people, technical consultant for the field mapping. That's what we do as a functional consultant, field mapping. And just I give it the specifications to import the exchange rates from the third-party tool. So these are the fields I specified, like from currency to currency, rate type, and from date to date, and rate inverse. So these are the specifications I given. The same fields they mapped with the third-party tool, and they implemented the third-party. I mean, they implemented that integration. They developed that integration. We were able to load the data into Fusion application successfully. What are the daily rates tools which you integrated? You can search in the Google, any tool name you can take. Okay, so that's how you can say. Okay, some name you can say that nothing goes wrong. Like, just it's not like fixed tools we have in the market. Okay, many tools we have. You can search in the Google, like exchange rate tools you can search. Okay, third party tools for exchange to import exchange rates you can search in the Google. Many services would be available. You can use any one of the name in your discussion. Or else you can say uh, like our client is using the purchasing application from some third party application. Our job is creating invoices based on, we have to create invoices, the payables by matching with the PO, where the PO information from third party application. So to create the invoice and the payables based on the third party application, purchasing application, we did the field mapping. So the technical consultant integrated purchasing, third party purchasing application with Oracle Fusion Payables application. So when you create invoice the payables, so we select the PO number. The PO number will flow from third party purchasing applications to payables. When you select it, from there, system will default supplier and site all the details which are available in the PO. And from there only the line information, distribution information also will be created. For that, we did the mapping to create the invoice based on the PO. What are the details required from the PO? All the fields we did the mapping and we created. So these are the examples you can take. Clear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions, please? Right, no questions. Now. Now let's talk about documentation. In today's session, we'll talk a few documents. In tomorrow's session, we'll discuss about the documents and what are the methodologies as per the methodologies, what is the naming convention for the documents and interview preparation, etc. Right. Here we discussed as a part of implementation project. Okay, we can have a kickoff meeting. Okay, for kickoff meeting also they can prepare a simple note. Who are the team members are going to attend for kickoff meeting from client side and implementation team, and what is a kickoff meeting location, time, etc. With all those, they can have a simple document also they can maintain to share across all the parties. And when it comes to the system, like understanding about the business process, we prepare MOM, minutes of meeting. Means we'll talk to the client and we'll just make a note very high level. Minutes of meeting, the simple document we prepare, there we'll address for minutes of meeting what is the agenda, what we are going to discuss, that you can keep in that. So otherwise directly you can use the questionnaire. Okay, by asking the questions, you can collect the information from the client. Without maintaining the questionnaire also, you can ask the questions to collect the data from the client. Say for example, to implement payables application, you may maintain the questionnaire. Questionnaires means list of questions, which questions you want to ask the client to get the data about their business. That questionnaire you can maintain, or else without questionnaire also, you can sit with the client and you can just ask certain questions. Based on that, you can make a note. You can ask the questions like, if you are implementing payables application, you can have a questions like, you can ask the questions like, so how many invoices you create per day, like currently how you are creating invoices, are you getting invoices from other applications, or are you creating directly invoices in the so payables application, whatever the current system you are using. So what is the volume of invoices in a day, what are the different currencies you create invoices, and how do you create the suppliers, and how you manage the site information, how many suppliers you have in the current system. So these are all the questions, like how many bank accounts you have, how many payments you process per day or week or monthly. These are all questions you have to ask the client. For that, you can use the questionnaire, or without questionnaire also you can have a like interaction with the client. If you want to have a like a questionnaire and you want to ask the client the questions and all, here you can use, I'll take you through the sample questionnaire. So this is how you can have a questionnaires documents. Okay. So operation analysis questionnaire for accounts payable application. Questionnaire is created by somebody, you can provide the details also. So this is a fixed, like for any implementations, you can use the same, or else you can ask the direct questions also. So this is how you can ask the questions. So describe at high level your accounts payables process. Okay, what is the process, high level process you follow? Like say you may create, say like we create invoice in the payables and we process the payables, payments in the payables, or else you can say we get invoice information from other applications to payables and we process the payments from payables. And that's how client will answer, like how to ask these questions. Do you have a single or multiple bill to locations? When supplier is going to send the invoices to us, like where like supplier is going to send invoices to one location or multiple locations. In the same way, like, and what basis you just classify the vendors. Okay, what is the basis for your vendors category breakdown? How you classify the vendors? Maybe service vendors, government vendors, foreign vendors. So how if already the client is maintaining the classification category for that vendors, that they'll talk about it. So do you have a single consolidated vendor list? Okay, do you have a complete list of vendors information with you? Do you have a vendors listed in your files multiple times? That means if you are going to maintain that vendors, do you create vendors again and again? That means duplication. Okay. Multiple times means duplication. Do you, in your current system, do you maintain the vendors as a duplication and again, like, because the system is like that, it may allow you. That means to understand whether the suppliers what they are maintaining, they have a duplicate suppliers, all are unique supplier names. And how do you handle vendors with the multiple addresses? If you are have a vendor with that, if you are dealing with the same supplier with multiple locations, how do you maintain in your system? So this is how you can see, like all these questions. How do you handle vendor numbering? How you maintain the supplier numbers? How do you put employee as a vendor in your system? Okay. So these are all like questions you can see. These are the questions we have to ask to understand about their payables business process, how they are managing the information in the system. So these all are the relevant questions related to payables. When we talk about purchase orders, invoice process, do you wish to prevent purchase orders being sent to vendors that are on hold in the accounts payables? Okay. So do you require batch control managing the invoice entry? And
Give me a second. Hello, 1 second.
please,
Please, starting to repeat once more time, sir.
sorry,
స్టార్టింగ్ నుంచి ఒకసారి చూపించు సార్. నేను ఇంకా ఇప్పుడే జాయిన్ అయ్యాను.
you can see the video. Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, what is the reason you are speaking in Telugu? Just I want to know.
No, I need to starting with questions. That's why
See, sometimes I could notice today's session also you are talking in Telugu. If you are comfortable with English, we cannot do anything with this course.
Okay.
Yeah. Just please focus on that point. Okay, if you are not okay with English, no use of this course. Fine. So these are the questions. Okay, you may ask the client. You can have this questionnaire with you, or else you can ask questions directly. What are the documents we use in the implementation time? The document related templates we can get from PMO, Project Management Office. Every organization, there will be PMO for projects, Project Management Office. They will decide for so implementation, what are the documents we have to prepare, what formats we have to follow, what methodology need to be followed. This all can be decided by PMO, Project Management Office. So they will provide the template as per your implementation. If you have to get the information based on the questionnaires, they will provide all these questionnaires documents, or else you can talk to your project manager, or else you can use the documents from the previous implementations also. Mostly we get from the PMO office. Okay, there'll be repository for every company where they'll maintain the project related documents. From there, you can download these documents and these you can use in your project. That's how it works. So this is how several questions will ask. Do you match your AP invoices with the PO? That means, do you create invoices based on the purchase orders? Okay, how do you match purchase order information to AP invoice information? In their current system, before they move to Fusion applications, how they are using the current system to understand very detailed level. These questions we have to ask. So how do you match vendor information to your fixed asset system when purchasing assets? Okay, when you create the purchase invoice and the payables, how you move the data to assets application? These are the different questions which we have to ask. Fine. So this is what we call as questionnaire. Okay, this is what we call as questionnaire. This you can ask very detailed questions you can have. So whatever the answer, just you can write here very high level. And again, if some information is not very clear, you may mark it as a so revisit is required. Again, you have to sit with the client and you have to interact the client to understand more detailed information, so that you can say, if I say, so what do you, who do you bank with, and list out your bank accounts and their purposes. Here you cannot write all those. They may say, so we have a 5 bank accounts or 10 bank accounts, that you can make a note. Okay, if they says, so I'm not sure about how many bank accounts we are using in our organization. Client says that, for that you can say revisit as a yes. So later again you can meet and you can talk to them. So that's how you can capture the information in the questionnaire document. So this is how you can have a questionnaire documents for each and every application, and that you can use during the implementation to gather the information. Or else what you can do is, if you may not use the questionnaire document in many implementations, simply you may just go with this MOA, minutes of meeting. So this is how like the meeting called by person name, and here you can provide the client name. This is a format, simple format which we use, and the meeting date, the date you can provide which year and all, where you are going to have a meeting with the client to get to know about their business process, some main conference or a block or so and so, and what is the subject of this meeting, the business process discussion. Okay, what is the business process they are following in their accounts payables department, and attendees who are going to attend for this meeting. From client side, who are going to attend, the people names we have to write, just for our discussion I kept as XYZ. And implementation partner, who is going to implement for this client from the implementation team, which consultants are going to involve in this discussion, we have to write. What is the agenda for this meeting? We want to understand about how they are creating the suppliers, how they are processing the invoices with PO or without PO, how they are managing the advances or prepayments, how they are handling the employee expense reports, how they are processing the payments, what reports they are using or they need. Is there any need of integrating this payables application with other applications and other points which are related to payables? Those all we'll discuss, and here we'll make a note. Okay, suppliers, like in which system they are creating, will write it. And invoices, how they create with the matching or without matching, if it's matching, how they are matching, what from which system they are matching, all the details they'll make a note here. Okay, this is the agenda. Whatever the discussion takes place, very high level. Okay, not detail level, very summary level. So you can write the points for each and everything. So that's how you can make a note of this minutes of meeting. After meeting is completed, the same document we have to send to all the participants who attended in that meeting. That means this is our understanding from this meeting. If any corrections, please let us know. With that meaning, we have to send this minutes of meeting. This is how for each and every application. So what points we are going to discuss in the meeting? You can have one meeting or multiple meetings only for payables. So what concepts we are going to discuss? What process related information we are going to discuss in the meeting? Accordingly, you can prepare this minutes of meeting. So So this is the one of the format which we use it for one client. When we are working for your client as per our consulting company and PMO decision, so they can just decide what format you have to use. But for your understanding, this is how just we can specify what is the agenda, what we are going to discuss in the meeting. You can just address, and accordingly you can have a discussion and you can make a note very high level. Supplier creation and maintenance. Maybe in 1 or 2 lines, you can write how they are going to maintain the suppliers information. Are they creating suppliers in some other applications and they are bringing into their current payable system, or directly they are creating in the payable system, or do they create suppliers and purchasing application, the same they'll import into payables they'll use, or else the suppliers what they are creating in the purchasing application that would be available in the payables also, or else they create suppliers in separate application, from there they import, or directly those would be available. What approach, how they are managing their suppliers creation maintenance as per their current systems, that we have to understand. So that once you understand, you will be able to suggest in case of fusion, this is how it works. You don't need to follow this process, what you are following the current system, that you can explain. The same way invoicing process also. Okay, here we'll discuss like what are the various type of invoices we record. If you want to invoice process with PO, without PO, first we'll discuss about it. So how do you create invoices? Do you create standalone invoices in the payables? Means yes, we'll make a note. Without PO, they create invoices. If they says yes, we create invoices with the PO, and we'll talk to them. Do you create invoice with only PO, or do you create invoices with the receipt also? Whatever the information they says, we'll make a note. And after creating invoices, if you want to do the corrections, how you are doing the corrections, that could be purchase returns, or it could be like price corrections, or if by mistake if user is entering the invoice. Okay, in case of without PO invoices, without matching with the PO, how do you do the correction? They says we use so and so memo, or we do so and so voucher creation, etc. That we have to make it. So ultimately, what is possible in the fusion applications only, that we just will inform them and will show them. But just directly, we should not show them what they are doing, how they are doing. At least we have to understand. For that, we should have all these discussions. And we'll talk to that client. Do you have a concept of giving advance to your suppliers? We'll just talk to them. In case of advances, do you provide permanent permanent prepayments or temporary prepayments? These points also will discuss. That means you'll give some deposit and it would be there with the supplier which you cannot use, or you provide advance and the supplier will allow you to use. And expense report, expense employees, how they record the expense reports in the system. Like, do you have separate system, or you are recording the expense reports in the payables system only? Those are all points. Okay. When it comes to payment processes, how you do the payments process, you do very manual process or batch process where you can automate the payment process. These all points we'll discuss. What are the typical reports you are using in the payables? Could you please list out? They'll say it's very key reports which they require in the payables. And any integrations, current system. The current system, what are the other applications are integrated with the payable system? Okay, how data flows from which applications to which application, these points we have to understand. Apart from that, anything else they want to address about the business scenarios they have in the payables as other points, you can make a note. Like, do you have any concept of third-party payments use? Once you go through the payables application, so whatever you see, those all you have to keep in your mind. Okay. Do you have any scenario where we process cross-currency payments? Do you create invoice and payments in the foreign currency? Okay, these are the different scenarios we have to ask them. Do you have any scenarios where we process third-party payments? So these are all questions you can ask the client. And do you have a concept of bills payables? Do you issue the, when you talk about payment process, there you can ask those questions. Okay, do you provide any future dated payments to your suppliers? So these are all points we have to discuss with the client. Those all we have to list out so that we can understand about their business process, what process they are following, how they are using the system. So what system they are using for payables application, and for purchasing and all, what are the other systems they are using. Everything will come to know. Not only asking the questions, we'll go and sit with the business users. When they are working on the system, we'll sit with the business users, we'll ask them, create one purchase invoice with a PO, without PO, some sample. Okay, dummy invoices will ask them to create, so that we can understand what details they are including, what process they are following to create invoice and to make the payment. So all the details you can understand. So as per the requirement, what details they are mentioning, accordingly that is possible in the Fusion applications or not. What information they are entering in Fusion, which can be automated, where they no need to select. How it works in the Fusion we know, but how currently they are using the system, that we have to go through. We have to sit with the business user first. Initially, without system, we all just meet and we'll have a meeting, like we'll, as a consultant, will ask several questions as per the agenda, what you plan for that meeting, and you'll make a note of all those points. And this, once you make a note of all these points as a MOA, minutes of meeting, this document will send to the all the parties who are involved in that meeting. So they have to agree, yes, this is what we discussed, or else so and so point we discussed is missing in this minutes of meeting document. Please include and resend. So that's how they'll give the confirmation. Otherwise, in this meeting, we'll discuss something. After that, based on that, if you do something in the system, they may say, we never discussed about this, we don't need. So that is the reason for everything what we discuss and what we do, we need the confirmation from the client. Based on the client confirmation or based on client approval only, we have to proceed to next step. So that's how we'll prepare this minutes of meeting document. This will share with all the attendees, and we have to get the acceptance from the client team for the same. That so that we can complete the understanding about client business process or business activities, what they are doing with respective to payables department. So this is all about minutes of meeting related document which you have to prepare. The other point is, so you may just simply, you can prepare, capture that information by using the questionnaire. In some implementations, we don't use minutes of meeting, we don't use this questionnaire. Simply we'll make a note when we discuss with the client. Without questionnaire, we'll sit and we'll discuss with the client. Once you are aware of payables, you can ask all the relevant questions related to payables. So when you know about payables, simply you can ask all the questions, like based on the concepts, what we can manage within the payables application, you can ask the questions. In such scenarios, many implementations, it depends how the project is planned, what are the documents we have to use, what we have to prepare accordingly. So you will come across all this. In many implementations, there won't be any questionnaire. Directly we'll sit with the client and we'll ask the questions related to each and every department. We'll make a note. Accordingly, we prepare the as-is doc. So this is what you have to understand about questionnaire. If you are going to use the questionnaire, if you are going to use the MOA, minutes of meeting, this is how just we have to capture the agenda. Accordingly, we have to write all the points whatever discussed in this minutes of meeting. So any questions on these two documents, please? So for payables only, you may conduct 2-3 minutes of meetings. Okay, maybe 1 minute of meeting for maybe suppliers and invoices, other maybe for payment process and reports and integration, some to understand other aspects of payables process. This is how you can just plan different minutes of meeting, or else you can conduct only 1 minute of meeting to understand very detailed level the payables process. After that, we have to sit with the business users and we have to see the system. Whatever they discussed in the minutes of meeting, we have to see the proof of the same in the system also. We go and sit with the business users and we will discuss with them what they are creating, how they are creating, etc. Any other questions, please? Yeah, whatever the document I'm showing in the class, I'll upload it. The other documents, many we have, but it's client specific, that will create issues. That is the reason I'm not going to show or share. Whatever the documents I'm showing in the class, that I'll place in the Google Drive. You can access.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Lakshman, even we can go to, means visit to the client place, that time also we can maintain this kind of data, right?
These all will do in the client location only.
Okay.
When you talk about implementation, we have to be in the client location, client office. Okay. By sitting in the offshore, we cannot do the implementation. At least a few people should be in the client location. Technical team can work from offshore. Okay, but functional team should be there in the client location. Otherwise, we cannot sit and we cannot discuss all these points. We have to be in the client office only. They'll allocate some just a separate area for us for our implementation team. It should be very close to their business users. And all the times throughout this implementation, there will be many discussions which we have to involve to do the implementation. So asking questions and gathering information, taking the clarification, sitting and discussing for this MOM minutes of meetings and CRPs, UATs, trainings. Okay, so the implementation all the time we have to interact with the business. That is the reason we should be in the client location. If client is in US, we have to travel to US. If client is in India, we have to be in the India in the client location. So that is the reason the functional consultants always will get the opportunity of travel also.
Lakshman, can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Is that any related for DA100? May know like what the documents called, because one of the interview they specifically asked me that are you aware of DA100 document?
I'll
That
explain. You'll come to know by tomorrow session. You'll come to know all those.
okay, Lakshman.
Any other questions, please? Okay, no questions.
Sir, this will be at initial discussion.
Sorry.
This will be this process that we need to ask at the time of
Yes.
initial
At-
discussion.
Yes, at the time of implementation, by using this questionnaire, you can ask the questions and you can capture the information based on the information which you get. We prepare as is document. Or else, if you don't want to use this detailed questionnaire, simply you can ask the client the questions based on this MOM, minutes of meeting, based on the inputs what they are providing. Accordingly, you can create the as is document. Means how they are doing the business, what is the current business process that you can prepare as a separate document. You can use this questionnaires document to ask the questions, or else this is how you can prepare the agenda. You can ask the questions and you can capture the details here. Based on that, you will prepare the separate and in detail document. That is as is.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, fine. Now, after gathering the information, you may use a questionnaire document or you may conduct the minutes of meeting. The output of this questionnaire document discussions or minutes of meeting, we prepare as is document. Okay. So that I'll try to show you in the tomorrow session, because I tried with many documents, but everywhere the client reference is there. So like that reason, like I didn't keep it ready. I'll try to get it ready possible by tomorrow. I'll try to walk through that document also, at least how it looks like at all.
Sir, one question, sir. Do we need to
Yeah.
follow any naming convention for the these documentations as well?
So wherever naming conventions are applicable, that I'll explain as per methodologies. Okay, now you take as a very generic. Okay, questionnaire document and MOM document. For questionnaire MOM, same names. There are no other names we use. For other documents, for example, application setup document. Application setup document, separate name is there. We call as BR100 document. Okay, again, as per methodology, we use the different naming, numbering. Okay, so functional specification document that we call as MD50 as per AIM methodology. As per OEM, we use the different naming convention. You'll come to know all this by tomorrow session. Yeah. Just let's go through what is the meaning of MOM, what we'll do. But MOM and questionnaires, we don't use any other naming convention. You call as a MOM document and a questionnaire document. Okay. Now, so when you do the setups in the system, we discussed, we'll capture the setups in the system environment. Okay, we'll capture the setups, whatever the setups we do in the system. We discussed after doing all these activities. So, okay, let's talk about this before proceeding. So we discussed, okay, if any customization need to be done, this is the process we have to follow. So this is the process we have to follow, we discussed. So we take the detailed requirement from the client and will prepare the functional spec document. The same will share with the technical team. So based on that, they can create the technical specification document. And they'll just do the development. They develop the report. Okay, that same they'll deploy in the instance. And as a functional consultant, we have to test. Finally, we have to show to the client and we have to take the approval. This is all about customization. For any customization, we have to prepare functional spec, functional specification document. We'll see how the document looks like, how we prepare. So this is a functional specification document. Just open this. So when you create the functional specification document for which company, which client you are, as per implementation project, for which client you are doing the implementation, the client name you have to provide here. Say, so you are doing the implementation for client called as ADP Corporation. I have to give the client name like this, And why you are preparing this functional specification document? Simply you can find it as a functional design. Yes, we are going to design the functional specifications. That is nothing but functional specification document. And what purpose you are preparing? So you have a requirement of creating new report called as supplier ledger report. So this is one of the requirement which we develop the report for one of the clients. The same example I'm taking, supplier ledger report. So to develop the new report, we are preparing this functional specification document. Who is going to prepare this report? The other name you can provide. Okay. So just who is preparing the report, person name you can provide. Exactly when you are creating this document. Okay. The date specifications you can give. So we are creating this document today. And latest updated, as of now it's not updated, just we are creating. And if you are creating this document, any reference document, no reference document, directly we are creating this document by taking the requirement from the client. So we are doing the implementation for this client and the client required this report. So how the report is required, what information this report has to capture, we have to prepare the functional specifications. So for that we are creating no reference document. Say for example, if you are going to do the setups, for setup document, maybe your to be process may be reference document. So that's how certain documents there will be reference based on what you are preparing this document, there could be reference. But for this, there is no reference. Directly, this is a document we are preparing as per the report requirement. Version, the initial version you can give as a 1.0. Say you prepared this document, you submitted client is asking to do some changes. Client is asking in this report, so-and-so parameter is required, so-and-so column need to be included. Then what we'll do is we'll include that and we'll save this document as a 1.1. And you submitted this document to the client. Again, client is asking few changes. Then you will just change the version to 1.2. So this is how we'll maintain the version for the document. We'll maintain all the versions 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. So till we finalize this document, we'll maintain the versions. Finally, we'll proceed with a finally approved document. So for each document, what we prepare as a part of implementation, this is how we'll maintain the version. So that sometimes if any discussion is required, so in so-and-so version of document, this is how information is specified. Yes, that is okay, or else need to be modified. So that's how this document version can be used for reference purpose. You can refer those documents. So for that purpose, we use the version, but initial version would be 1.0. And approvals. Once you prepare this document from client side, okay, from client side, who has to approve these documents, or else from implementation team side, who has to approve these documents, the names we have to write here, approver names we have to write. Just for example, I given as Mr. X and Mr. Y. They have to approve it. Okay, they have to approve it. The reality, what we do is we'll take the printout of this document and we'll take the sign from those approvers in some implementation. Some implementations we don't take such kind of physical document signing approvals. We'll send these documents through email and they will revert to us saying that it is not okay or it is okay. That's how they'll just reply. That will maintain as a proof. Okay, so this is how we have to maintain some information in the as a title of this customization. So customization here is report development. Client need this report, supplier ledger report. So such kind of report is not available in the paper. So we have to develop that. So what exactly this report should display, what information this report should capture, those we have to write very detailed. How you can get this information, we have to discuss with the client. So client says, so in this report, what information need to be fetched and what parameters they want to provide to fetch the data. That we have to discuss with the client and we have to capture that information into this report. And here, document controls. These are the serial templates. Okay. So when you are doing the implementation, what templates your PMO, project management office, is using, those templates they'll provide as per the format we have to provide the data. So change records. Okay. Change records. If you are doing any changes in this document, who is doing the changes and what version reference, what version the changes are done. To do the changes, what is the reference document? That's how we have to provide. Say, for example, this document is created few days back, and today we are going to do some changes to this document. And who is doing the changes? Mr. X is doing the changes. So the changes, what you are capturing as a, say for example 1.1, the changes reference is what reference you are taking, like 1.10 reference you may take and you may do the changes. This is how you can specify if you are doing any changes. Again, later you may do some changes. For that you may give some different versioning, and based on 1.0 reference or 1.1 reference you are doing the changes also, you have to update here. You can specify all those information. And reviewers who will review this document. Okay, who will review the document? So Mr. X will review. Who is Mr. X? Maybe project manager. And Mr. Y also will review this document. When you are preparing this document only, we have to provide these details. Okay, so is the client manager, from client side manager. So this is how we have to specify who are the reviewers and what is the position respective to this project. And the distribution. Okay, where this document need to be maintained. Okay, library master and the project library. The project library has to be maintained. As well as if you create just certain drive for the documents creation, you may say like project drive. So where you have to locate this document after creating this document, once it is approved by client. So where we are going to maintain this document, that you have to provide. This is the default content text. Okay, so here you don't need to do anything. As a note, you can see that. And here we have to create the content of this document. So we have seen document control. So topical easy, like here we describe about the purpose of the report and what is the business need. And the report what we are going to develop is supplier ledger report, and the column details in that report, what columns the client required. And when we are running the report, what parameters are required for the report. Okay, and the technical overview, open closed issues for this document. If any issues with this document, still any data we have to get and all you can capture. Let's see the same. So what is the purpose of this report? Okay, the supplier ledger report needs to be delivered in order to provide the transaction information of all the suppliers during the specified time and opening and closing balances of each and every supplier. And that report need to be developed, and that should be available in this XLS means Excel format and PDF output formats. After developing this report, if users are going to use this report, they should be able to generate the reports, the Excel format as well as PDF format. The business need. So report to provide all the supplier transaction information. Okay. So to capture all the suppliers related information, this report is required for business. And when we discuss with the client, we'll come to know all these points. What client says that we have to write in this document. Okay, what client says that we have to write in this document. And here, the same you have to write the supplier ledger report. Again, you are taking the same description about the report, what the report purpose, what data need to be displayed. And exact information here you can find. What are the columns, data this report should display. So in this report, system has to display, the report has to display vendor number, means supplier number, who is the supplier, and the supplier site code or site name, whatever they require. You better take supplier site name. Okay. Vendor supplier site name, and a vendor type, which type of vendor, and what are the opening balances that beginning of the month for that supplier, and a GL date and a PO number for that specific transaction. So I mean to say invoice, and organization. Okay, so organization name, and it's nothing but business unit, you can say organization, business unit, and the location of the vendor, and what is the invoice number, and the AP invoice date, the invoice is created on which date. And for paid invoices, check number also system has to display, and the description of the payment and the currency, the payment is processed in which currency. If invoice is foreign currency invoice, if you make the payment in the foreign currency, the exchange rate also need to be displayed. What is the invoice amount? What are the supplier balances are available? How much we have to pay to the supplier? So these are the columns the client required. Okay. So when we discuss with the client, this is how we'll come to know. So what are the details? The report should display all you can take as a columns. All you can take as a columns that we call as the report columns details. So any report, okay, any report we are going to prepare. This is how we have to prepare the list of the columns. If you want to describe about these columns, okay, you can have one more column and you can write the description also. Vendor name means supplier name. Vendor site name means the supplier site only. Vendor type is what type, the classification of the supplier. So opening balances means the beginning balances of the supplier for the specific period. GL date means just with which date accounting they are doing that date. PO number means purchase order number. Organization means business unit. This is how you can write the description by adding one more column here. We have two columns, column number, column details, and you can add one more column, and you can add the description for each and every column also. So this is how, when we discuss with the client will provide all this information that we have to make a note as a functional consultant. This is how we have to prepare this document. Okay, this is how we have to prepare this document. So when you run the document, when you run this report, what parameters you require? So that you can specify here, parameters. You should be able to run this report business unit wise. Okay, when you are running this report, the report what you are running, you want that report for which business unit, and you should be able to filter the data within this report invoice type wise also, and vendor name. Okay, you can give the vendor name. If you don't give the vendor name, it will generate the report for all the vendors, and or else you can provide the vendor number also, if not name. Okay, and vendor type, based on the vendor types also you want to generate this report. And again, another parameter is from date and to date. Okay, within this time period, so what are the invoices are created, what are the payments are processed, and if you want to generate the report, you can use the from and to dates. And report date, Okay, allow users to print the system print date on the report or not. If they give yes, that date will be printed on the report. Okay, when they are printing that, just the date also will be printed. So these are all like parameters. They'll provide these parameters, they'll run the report, and the system will display this data as per the parameters. We give BU1, BU1 related invoices information, it will display BU2, BU2 related. So this is how, when we are going to develop the report as a functional consultant, this is how we have to prepare the functional spec or functional specification document. Now, based on these details, the technical people can develop technical specification document by writing the programming. They'll prepare the program logics to develop report like this with these parameters under these columns. And this is how just we are giving all the columns and the parameters, and other stuff, nothing like technical overview and all, nothing is required. If any issues like still there are some issues related to this report, like client is not yet confirmed, like they need 2 more columns, but they're not yet finalized. Those issues you can write. If you have any open issues, you can write against this report to development, I mean, capturing the data from the client. So already there are some issues which are already resolved, like identifying which columns exactly require, which parameters are required. Those you can list out here. So issues are resolved in terms of finalizing this report that you can capture. Really, if required, you can enter, otherwise you can ignore this. So this is how we prepare functional specification document. Okay, functional specification document. And this report, this document, we have to share to the client. Okay, we have to share to, after preparing this functional specification document, we will submit this functional specification document for the business client, and they'll go through all these. And if they think some column is missing, what they inform, they'll inform, so that we can add in these columns. And if they need some parameter, they will inform us, they will add it in this list. Or if there is like so-and-so parameter, so-and-so column is not required, we'll remove it. If they need some additional columns or parameters, will include. Again, we'll submit the same document to the business. Again, they'll go through. Finally, we have to get the approval from the client. Okay. Finally, we have to get the approval from the client. So that's what we have to understand. So this is all about report. Say client is using the PaaS subscription. So sometimes they like we have to develop the pages also. Okay, we have to develop the pages. If you have to develop the pages, for that we have to prepare the functional specification. The same way, like in case of pages, like the page for what purpose we are creating. In the same way, like you can provide the author name, and when you are creating that document, here we'll give the name as what exact page you are going to create. Okay, so which page you are creating, for example, LC, letter of credit. So letter of credit, if any client wants to use the letter of credit, if any bank is providing the letter of credit and all, that page, if you want to develop, here you can give the title as a letter of credit. You can give the title instead of this report name. And here you have to prepare like how that page should looks like. What are the fields we required in that page, that information we have to provide. Okay, so we have to provide here all those, like example. So just for our discussion purpose, I'm taking like this. Ideally, the fields, what fields they require, and all client will provide, that we can represent here. Okay, here there says some LC number. Okay, the bank name. And we can add one more. Bank name and bank account. Here they'll provide. And say LC amount 5, and like the supplier details also, supplier bank and supplier name and the supplier bank account, all these what details we have to capture in the page. So all we have to list out, and reality that the format of that can be provided by client. Okay, so they provide that information. Say paintbrush. They may take as this is how they'll just design. Example. This says LC header information. So client can prepare and client can provide like this, how they need this. So, let's see further information. And they make you, this is how they may need the page. Here they have to capture LC, letter of credit. LC lines information. And again, this everything should be available in the single page. Okay. And here, what are the fields they require, they'll provide. Here they may give some buttons what they require. Okay. So this is how just they'll design and they'll provide, or else we have to prepare like this after taking the data from the client. This we have to include in that document. So this is to save. This tab may be to submit. Here they can have a fields. They need one field for LC number. And other fields also. When we discuss with the client, we'll come to know. Okay, this is how just you can prepare how that page should looks like, and the total data need to be partitioned into how many parts. This is all you can specify. Maybe I will say description. LC number, LC description. LC just who is issuing the LC, like who is our supplier, all the details. So how we require all these you can just prepare here. This you can represent in this document. Okay. If you are preparing this document for LC purpose, this is how you can paste here, so that this information technical people will see, okay, this is how they need one page. The page should looks like this. Total information should be partitioned into LC header and lines. The header level, these many fields are required. And for each field, what is the purpose and all we'll write below. Okay, we have to write LC number. Here only number should be allowed, or else alphanumeric values can be allowed. LC description, so character, any name, any value you have to enter. LC number, the minimum, the limit should be 20 digits, maximum 20 digits number should be allowed here. The description, these many characters should be allowed. The same way bank account. Okay, so you can say bank account, the bank account, so supplier bank account can be entered directly here. Our bank account can be selected from the drop down value. So this is how all the information we have to write below. Okay, when you discuss with the client and they'll provide what information they require, what data they want to capture as a part of the custom page, all the details will understand. This is how you can frame that information, or else this is how they will design. The page client can design and they can give to us that we have to take into this document, and we have to write the description for each and every field, in which field what data and what, whether the data need to be entered directly dynamically, or the data we have to select from our application. Drop down is required, LOV is required, or any field requires some, any field has a dependency with the other field, or in which field what data need to be entered, what is the maximum text you can enter, how many characters. Okay, so how the lines are connected with the header. So based on the header, like line information, how you can enter, what fields are required in the LC line information section. And this all like, again, like this is to create and to find the LC informations. We need other page if we require how that page should looks like. And once you find existing LCs, once you open, it has to display the complete information or limited information. All these points we have to discuss with the client, and we have to represent in this functional specification document. However, we are giving the specification for report, the same way we have to give the specifications for this custom page development also. Okay, custom page development. So, and again, technical people, they'll create the page like this, and they'll create the table in the database, and they'll connect this table with this page with the table. Whatever the data you store in this, that will be stored in the database. Ideally, this page development and all you can do in case of PaaS environment. Okay, PaaS environment only, that already we discussed. So, any questions here, please?
Lakshman, page in the sense, is this the OTBA report, or else it's totally different this from the report?
Sorry?
This is not related to OTBA report, right?
We are not talking report, we are talking page.
Okay, both are different. Okay.
Page, if you want to develop the new page, how the page should looks like, we are talking about. Before this, what we discussed is that is a report. This is a report related. OTBA, BA reports. Okay, when you say reports, we develop through BA reports.
Okay.
Along with this, same as a report, if any page development is required, what we have to do, I am explaining.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Any questions here, please? And just I'm keeping this information as it is in this, and I'm saving just for your reference purpose. Okay, but basically this is what we are preparing. This is for report, but just I included this information in this. That's no issues. This would be in the recording session. This is not required. I'm removing this. Just remember these points. So that's how we have to create. So when you prepare, when you do the integrations also, okay, simply this is how you can create simple report. Okay, the integration like between which system, integration name you can give, and who is preparing the document, functional specification. Here simply you can list out the columns. Okay, here you can list out the columns, which columns we are going to map. Here you can give some say workday payroll application. The Workday payroll application we are going to integrate with Fusion GL application to get the journals information from here to here. And this field you can use for description. So in the Workday which field we are mapping with the Fusion GL which field for journal creation, that you can specify. The mapping already we discussed. Okay. So this is all. In each field you can take the data, and here also you can take. So the field names you have to provide here. The field name here could be some, so maybe payroll batch. That field in the Fusion we have to map with journal batch field. If applicable, you can write the description, otherwise no need to write anything. If you want to describe about that mapping, you can write, otherwise no. Here, salaries. Okay. For salaries is a category. Here there may be field called as classification. The classification field need to be mapped in the Fusion GL with the field called as category. Here the field name may be app. That field here need to be mapped with the source. Means here app means in which application that is created, but as per our applications, application we call as a specific source. So this is how just we have to do the field mapping, and you can create this functional specification document. This by referring this, the technical people can do the integration development. So this is how we have to create the functional spec in case of integrations and all. So this is all about, we have to understand how the functional specification documents can be created in the project. These documents we create the implementation. During the support also, if they need any new reports or any new developments they require, support project also we prepare this functional specification documents. Okay. This is all about functional spec. I'll share whatever the documents we are discussing in the class. I'll share it, I'll place in the Google Drive. You can access, you can have a look. And so we discussed when we do the setups as a part of implementation. So we have to do the system configuration. Okay, system configuration we have to do in the test instance. Even we do the system configuration, the production instance, if everything is finalized. So when you do the system configuration, what setups you are doing, what exact data you are entering in the system, that you have to capture into the document called as application configuration document, or you can call as setup document. How the document looks like, how we prepare the data, we'll see. How we prepare the setup documents as a part of implementation. So this is all the title would be. These are the default templates. You no need to create all these from the scratch. These are the templates which Oracle is providing, or else your PMO office, you can get all those. Okay, you can prepare it. So this document we are creating for what purpose? Setup purpose. The name is application setup document. Which application setups you are going to capture into this document? General ledger application. Here you can provide the client name. Who is your client? Which client this document you are providing, say ADP Corporation. And here you can give the client implementation partner name in any document. Okay, implementation partner name. So who is implementing, for example, TCS. A TCS logo you can give, or else you can give the name. Okay, who is preparing this document? Okay, Mr. X is preparing. The person name, consultant name you have to provide, and creation date. When you are creating this document, after some time you may do updates, then you can capture the date. Is there any reference document for this? Yes, that for this the reference document would be to be document. The to be document means how we are going to implement the solution. Accordingly only we do the setups. here for this document, reference document would be 2B. It's as per 2B, how they are going to use system accordingly, we have to do the setups. The same way here, who are the approvals for this document? Okay, functional head and project manager. Okay, the names and their signatures and etc. Which date they approved. These details you can provide once you complete this document, once it's approved by respective people. And here also just you can provide the change record. So first version, there was no prior version. That is the reason change references new document. This is, we are not referring any other documents to prepare it. Who are the reviewers? You can provide that information, name and their designation, position, and where this document would be available, where you are going to place after doing this, that you can specify as a distribution, where this would be available in the project folder, etc. And in this document, what setups you are going to capture. Okay, the application setup control sheet for general ledger application. Within this, what setups we are doing in the payables, only setups. Okay, somebody asked BR100 document. This document only we call as BR100 document. Business requirement setup document. BR100 document we call as per AIM methodology. So in this document only we capture each and every application setups. We know in the payables what setups we do, those are limited. Okay, so primary chart of accounts creation, primary ledger creation, legal entity creation. Legal entity is not part of GL. Just primary ledger creation and all falls under GL. And the payable setups already we have seen. Okay, in the payables, many setups we do. If you are preparing this document for payables, we'll prepare all those. The format and all, it's predefined. Okay. So whatever the methodology you use, accordingly, you can download those template. In the template only, we have to prepare we have to enter this data. You don't need to create everything from the scratch. Okay, format is available from Oracle only. Just you have to enter the data inputs. That's all. So in this document, what we are talking about, how these setups are done, we are talking about. Okay, defining. So accounting key flexible value sets and defining key flexible structure, defining key flexible segments. Okay, and enabling the currency, creating the accounting calendar, creating primary ledger, assign legal entities. So these are the setups which you are going to capture in this. Here, this format Oracle will provide. You don't need to create it. Okay, so you don't need to create it. So this client will provide. So client will provide this document. Oracle will provide these templates. So these all you don't need to prepare. You have to enter here. So whose responsibility is this? Who is going to complete all these setups? Okay. So the person name or team name you can provide. So TCS is going to do this setup. So you can write TCS, or you can write directly consultant name also. So that's how you can give the, so these setups. Okay. Who's going to do the consulting company name or consultant name you can provide here. And due date, by which date these setups are going to be completed, and who is going to test these setups. QA means quality assurance testing. Who is going to do the testing? Person name you can write, team name you can write, by which date the testing should be completed. And once this everything is done, signing. Okay, this you can print out and do for the authorized people. They can sign and they can accept for this. So these are the details you can specify. Now here you have to specify value sets. How many value sets you are creating, how you are creating, you have to write here. Okay, the value set name is say ADP company. Description also same, ADP company. Okay, security available. Are you using the security rule for this company value set? Yes. So the list type, format type, what you are selecting. Okay, those all you can specify. Say, for example, here validation type is independent. And here we are giving the minimum maximum values as a 5,000 to 9,000 values need to be entered in between. Right justified zero fill number, we are not setting. Fill with all zeros, not applicable. Uppercase only, not applicable. So the numbers only not applicable. Maximum size we are giving as a 4. So this is a whatever the value sets you create in the system, the same you have to capture into this setup document. What setups you did, you have to capture into this. That's how you can list out all the value sets, how many value sets you created by providing what information, what is the maximum size, etc. You have to create it. And after value sets, we have to create the structure. Okay. So what structure you are creating, what is the task name you are using, manage chart of account structures. There you will give the structure code, say for example, so ADP accounting, let's field. So the title also you are giving the same. Sorry. The title also same. Description also same. This is how you have to capture what chart of account structure you created. Okay, here within that, what are the segments you created? The system, how many segments you create, those you have to list out here. Company, prompt, display name is same. Company, column, segment 1, which value set you assign? ADP, company value set you assign. Display is enabled as enabled is yes, enabled, the checkbox is enabled. Segment label name, primary, balancing, segment. Label selected, yes, send it. So this is how you have to write here. Okay. The same way currencies. For your client, which currencies you enabled? By default, all are enabled. Already we discussed. To disable all, whatever the currencies you require, those only you can set here. Okay, currency codes, what currencies your client is using. So USD, INR, AED. And you can write the currency names and description, issuing territory. If you go to currency screen, from there you can copy this information. Okay, that's how you can take. So this is how the setups, what we are doing. We have to capture these formatting and all. You don't need to prepare this. The format these boxes with these titles and all you will get from the Oracle. So when we are using the IM documentation or OEM documentation, so these templates would be available with this respective formats. Otherwise, you can get from your PMO office. So this is how we have to prepare BR100 document, means setup document. What exactly setups we did, we have to capture into this document just for reference purpose. So it would be useful, like if you instead of going and checking each and every setup in the system, by going through this setup document, you can understand in which instance what setups are done and which what business unit, what setups are done, what checkboxes are enabled. Based on the application, you can capture the data. This is what we call as BR100 document. We'll discuss anyway. Simply as of now, you can take setup document. This is all you don't need to prepare. This formatting and all these boxes, etc. You don't need to create. This is all you will get in the template only. These are the predefined templates which we get from Oracle based on the implementation methodology what we are using. Otherwise, your company is following their own methodology or etc. They will keep this template formats how they need. So just we have to fill the data. That's all. We have to fill the data as per these fields or columns or rows. So this is all about setup document we call it. Okay. If we take example of payables, here we'll have a setups, like one setup is common options for payables and procurement. Other setup is invoice options. Other setup is payment options. The other setup is payment terms. Other setup is distribution sets. Okay, this is how you can have a list of setups and the relevant format pages would be available. There you can provide the common options in the liability account field, which code combination you given, you copy and paste. And prepayment account field, which code combination you entered, you copy and paste here. That's how you have to provide the data into this templates. This we call as setup documents. Okay, this we call as setup documents. Any questions on this, please? Right, no questions. Okay, the tomorrow session, I'll just try to introduce few documents also, if possible, because there's a lot of client information. Where it also it is not working. So I'll try at least to show a few other documents also as per our discussions. And after that, we'll talk about these documents we call as per
Lakshman.
methodology with what names. After that, we'll discuss about
Hello,
interview
Lakshman.
preparation.
Hello.
I'm talking, hope you can hear me. Please, now tell me.
Can you share some document which is related to the Fusion application? You have already previous some deployed or you implemented some
No. Those
the
are
project.
client. I should not do that. That will become issue. Okay.
So you can remove the client name. What
It is not
just
like
I'm,
client name. There will be a
Mm.
lot of information and each description is everywhere. We'll write each and everything. The names will provide the same and all.
Mhm.
I'll show you templates. You can directly use that. You can fill the data in that. Okay.
Okay, Fusion related.
Fusion only. See, in Fusion we use OUM methodology. You can use
OUM. Yes.
That's
Yes.
all. That's all. Yeah, I'll show you
Oh.
in tomorrow session. I'll just walk through those also.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Any questions on today's session?
Hello, Lakshman.
Yeah, please.
Actually, I'm trying to ask you some question regarding rapid implementation.
Okay.
While creating rapid implementation, I'm getting an error. It is showing it's showing this calendar is not valid.
Yeah. Which instance you are using?
This what you give first. Just a minute, I'll tell you.
Just 1 second. I'll show you which instance you have to use.
Hello, Lakshman.
Please.
Yeah, Koteshwar here. Actually, I have attended the previous classes. Could you please continue? No, I am going to attend these classes for second time. Could you
Yeah,
please,
sure. You talk to the team. Okay. You are in touch with
Ask-
you talk to them, ask them to include. Yeah.
No, actually, I have sent a couple of emails to Saida and then you also. Could you please
Send one
include
test
me?
mail and you want to be in which batch?
This batch continue. I'll continue till end.
This batch completed. Tomorrow is the last session.
Oh, tomorrow is the last session. Okay. New batch I want to continue from first.
Morning batch or evening batch or weekend batch? Which batch?
Morning batch only.
Morning batch.
Mm.
Okay. So morning batch, I think. So we are running on batch now, 8 o'clock. Do you want to be part of it? Just I think 10 classes are completed.
Yeah, fine. No issues in that.
Send me email.
Okay.
I'll just add your mail ID in the distribution right away. Yeah. Send me test mail right away.
Okay, please. I'll send. I am sending now.
Sure. Please. Done.
Lakshman,
Other questions from anyone on today's
Yeah.
session?
Lakshman, I just want interview ask me one question regarding the reports. Okay, which reports you are extracted?
We'll
like that?
discuss tomorrow. In tomorrow's session, we are going to talk about interview preparation. There you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Just regarding the integration, might be the balances carry forward, right? Which balances having in legacy system, we need to carry forward in our Fusion, right?
That is not integration. That is a conversion.
Conversion. Okay.
Yeah, tell me. What is the question?
So conversion. What we need to take care in conversion? So then, how it will work? What was the final functional consultant role on that?
Conversion, see, first point is what data you have to move from legacy to Fusion that we have to finalize. That will sit with the client and we'll discuss. And
Okay.
data you can move, what data you cannot move, you have to understand. If you talk about payables, you can move the suppliers data and open invoices. The paid invoices you cannot move. Even client wants to move to Fusion, there is no option for us. Okay, and when I talk about receivables, we can move the customers data and transactions data. And receipts data anyway you cannot move. So, and again, if you want to understand that, you can go to FBDA templates. There you can see the different templates. The templates are available for which data, though that data you can move. That's it.
Okay.
Lakshman,
What we have seen in our classes, the same process we have to follow when we are going to move. And when we are moving the invoices data and the transaction data, when they are moving that amounts they want to take into which accounts, the business will take the decision. The amounts they have to hit to the which account, the data which they are loading, they'll take the decision according to the same accounts they will provide and we will load it.
Okay.
This is how to load it. That's the prime point.
Okay. Fine.
Lakshman,
Please.
how to bring the opening balance from others third-party tool to Fusion? Is there any? Because it was a straight question asked to me.
Okay, what is your question? How?
How to bring the opening balance from the third-party tool to Fusion?
Yeah. So we collect the data from third party by using the FPDA templates, and the data will load into Fusion application. How we collect the data? We give these templates to business users. They'll enter the same data into this template through manual process. Or else if large volume of the data is available, they will take technical team support. What technical team will do is, they'll do the mapping between their third-party system and this FPDA templates. And they will extract the data from that third-party tool to this FPDA templates. Finally, we get the data and we load by following the same process. That's all. One is manual, other one is automatic. Manual means the users will enter all the suppliers and invoices data in the respective templates and will convert into files and will load. The second option is, if large volume of the data, it is not easy task for them to enter through manual process. They will take technical team support. Technical consultant can write the coding, programming. They can extract the data from the third-party tool or application, and that they'll populate into the same template and we can load it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what we have to explain. Simply, you can say how you move the data from there to here. You can say by using FBDA templates, we loaded that, we collected the data from the legacy and we loaded the same data into Fusion. This is what you can give as answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thanks. Yeah, please.
I have sent an email, Lakshman. Test mail I have sent you.
I'll just add in the distribution. From Monday onwards, we'll get a meeting link for that batch. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Lakshman.
Thanks.